So where is Lent taking us? Where is Lent taking you? Where is Lent taking me? Well, you know, a poor analogy is it's kind of like a car. If you don't get in, it doesn't take you anywhere. So some would tell me, well, Lent is taking me to sacrifice. Yeah. Lent is taking me to some suffering and some giving up. Lent is taking me to self-discipline. Well, that doesn't sound like fun, does it? Although it can be very good if it's leading you either away from sin or closer to the Lord. See, where Lent is really taking us is in today's reading. Lent should be taking us to the same place that those three apostles were, up on the mountain, experiencing God face to face, learning to develop that deeper relationship with the Lord. Let's talk a little bit broader of Lent and where the readings take us. So each Mass during Lent, the first one, now this will be if you're not at the Mass for the scrutinies, okay? But the standard readings for Lent, the first one was going into the desert, experiencing that aloneness, a little bit of suffering, trial, and tribulation to prepare for the journey. Then today's reading, the church says, let us show you where you're headed. You're headed to be in glory with God, to be face to face with the Lord. Let's give you some hope in these challenges. And three of the apostles, three of his closest friends, found out who Jesus really was, face to face. And next week, it's the woman at the well. So Jesus has told his closest friends who he really is. And now the next week, he tells the woman at the well, the Gentile, non-chosen people, who he really is. He's the Messiah. See, he came not just for a select few. He came for everybody. The week after that, it's the prodigal son, the one who has gone astray, gone away. We all know people who have had that happen with their faith. Maybe we're one of them. And the story goes on to show that you don't have to be out there, that the Father waits and welcomes back with open arms those who have strayed. The week after that, it's about the woman who had committed adultery, and she stood in front of Jesus, ashamed and convicted and humiliated. And many of us have been in a similar situation where we can't believe that we did something that maybe is so terrible, and the Lord forgives her. If we go to him, he says, you cannot have done anything in your past that is so bad that I cannot forgive you if you want to be forgiven. We have a merciful God who loves us. And the week after that, we're already into Palm Sunday, the triumphant coming into Jerusalem that leads then into his passion that he faces basically alone, and his death, and then his resurrection. See, he faced death alone that he could defeat death for us. And then he rose from the dead to say, I want to show you that there is so much more after this life if you just develop the relationship with me and come home. And there's hope. So we enter Lent, I hope, kind of like the apostles. Jesus, I imagine he woke them in the morning. Because see, Jesus, he would go very early in the morning or very late at night to have a face-to-face conversation with his Father. And in this case, he took the apostles, 3 of them along. He woke them early in the morning. Oh my gosh, I'm so tired. He says, follow me. And they head up the mountain and it's dark. And they're like, this is really hard and it's difficult. And he says, follow in my footsteps. And they get up there. And after all that turmoil, they're tired and they fall asleep. And when they awake, he is in his glory. And they're like, oh my. The trek up the mountain, it was worth it. The difficulty and the challenge, it was worth it. And it's worth it to you and me too. See, Jesus showed them there's a reason that he would go and pray with the Father, because he needed time with the Father face to face, to talk with him, to share what was happening and how he felt, and more importantly, to listen to the Father in silence. I need the same thing. And I come here every week to listen to the Father. I invite you to come each week to listen to the Father. See, the Lord wants us to have such a deep relationship with him that when we enter our death, we don't have to enter it alone, because he said, I've been there, I know what it is, and I know the path. Let me go with you and show you the way, and then introduce you finally to that pure eye-to-eye, face-to-face with the Father. But in the meantime, we should be developing the relationship. So next week, during the week, if you notice in the hallway, there is a large picture of Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. We're going to move that, and we're going to put an adoration board there for people's names to be filled in for round-the-clock adoration here at this mountain where we come up to meet the Lord face to face, to spend quiet time with God just like Jesus did, because Paul says we're supposed to be imitators of him. Jesus went to the synagogue every week, but he went out into the desert or in the mountains often to pray to the Lord, and we should be imitators. And I will share with you that if you choose to imitate Christ and spend time with the Father, will there be some mountains? Sure. Is there some challenges? Yeah. Oh my goodness, today it's really cold. Or, oh, it is so dark out tonight. I'm so tired. It was such a hard day at work. Or I got to take the kids to school. When am I going to fit this into my schedule? But if you climb that mountain, you overcome those hurdles, and you spend time with the Lord, you will be blessed. And when we get to the point where the adoration board is filled, every slot, we'll have somebody from this parish talking to God every minute of every hour of every week, every day and every week, and every month throughout the year. And when that happens, this entire parish will be hugely blessed. Now, I don't know exactly what that will look like, but I can't wait to find out, because he's not going to be outdone. And he is present with us, and it will seem like he is even more present with us when we do that. So, where's Lent taking you? Where's Lent taking me? Let Lent become a closer encounter, face to face with God.